In today's video, we are going to be doing a halfback and 5/8 discussion. I've decided to combine the two of them mainly because this year there's not as much depth in these positions, so I'm just going to be talking about the top 5 gun halves to start off the year. Starting things off here with Nicho Hynes. He has been the best player in SuperCoach for the last 2 years. I think he is a better pick over Nathan Cleary. At the start of the year, he plays the Warriors, the Bulldogs, the Tigers and the Raiders in their first 4 games. And the Warriors might not have Shaun Johnson for one of those games. I think he's a must-have. Just pick him, set and forget. He will be worth every penny that you pay for him. Now, moving on, Dylan Brown. I think he should be up around the 30% mark. But I feel like some people don't know Jane Campbell's injured, so they're still going with him and KO Weeks, because a lot of people are picking Jane Campbell as their number 1 5/8, but now he's injured. Dylan Brown's just a safe pick. He has a better base than any other half. He has easy teams at the start like the Bulldogs and Tigers, and he rarely gets injured. He just has to behave himself, and he needs to not end up in court again. There was a time period of last year where if you didn't have him in your team, you weren't winning games. And I never got a chance to get him in my team before he just exploded. But this year I'm going to start with him. I'm going to hold him all throughout the year, at least to Origin time. He's the best 5/8 from SuperCoach. Number 3 on my list is Cameron Munster. He knows how to perform against tough teams. He actually plays better against tough teams. I think he likes performing at the big stage. They don't do SuperCoach for State of Origin, but I reckon he would have 100 SuperCoach points in almost every Origin game. And if we look at last year, he performed very well against teams that made the top 8, like the Roosters, the Warriors, the Broncos, the Sharks. He can play extremely well. But I feel like some games, he can give away a few penalties. He can get himself in a bit of trouble because he can be a bit of a grub sometimes. But I totally understand if you're going to start with him over Dylan Brown, because the last 2 years, ever since I've started taking SuperCoach seriously, I've started with Cameron Munster. This year I'm not doing it, but if you want to start with him, I would definitely recommend him. Moving on now to Nathan Cleary. He's one of the greats of SuperCoach. He has an early bye. So does Nicho Hynes, but pretty sure his bye's a bit earlier. And he always finds a way to miss games, whether it's getting himself suspended for doing stupid tackles, whether it's Origin, whether it's an injury. He always just finds a way to miss games every single year. I'm not going to start with him. He has a tough schedule to start off the year, playing teams like the Storm, the Eels, who he doesn't score well against. He only has a 59 average against them. And then he has a grand final rematch against the Broncos, and they're going to be out to get him in that game. So I wouldn't start with Nathan Cleary. Just pick Nicho Hynes. Now, Daly CherryEvans, and I have him number 5 on my list. He had an average of 102 in the final 5 games a year. He will score good at the start with a healthy Turbo, but if he gets injured, I reckon Turbo, if you have him in your team, he's a sell, and you should probably sell CherryEvans too. Because the reason why he averaged 100 near the end of last year is because he played some very easy teams like the Bulldogs and the West Tigers and the Rabbitohs, who were on a down 4 at the end of last year. I think he's a good player to start off with. I wouldn't go with Tommy Turbo and DCE at the start. Like I said, you should always go with Nicho Hynes. But if you're going stacked halves, don't go with both of them, because if the Seagulls have a tough day and they lose 30-0, DCE and Turbo aren't going to score any points. I think he'll combo even better now that Ruben Garrick's in the centres, and they're going to have a very scary trio at the start of the year. So that'll be it for my guns video. I'm going to be doing 2 more videos, which is going to be mid-ranges and cheapies.